What needs to stop being put on a pedestal? Expensive vases. It's asking for trouble. That really is an issue not enough people recognize, even though it's visible almost everywhere. How well will Asian people that don't want any trouble become super powerful without this, though? Young pre-politically weird Jackie Chan plus ladder plus antique vase on top of ladder equals totally superpowers. I realized one of the most unkind things I can do to someone is to put them on a pedestal because, inevitably, they are going to do something that's going to knock them off it. Then I'm going to have a trouble with it, because I needed them to be something else and that's inhumane. My dad always says there's only one way off a pedestal and that's straight down. Your dad is a wise man. Celebrities. They're also out of touch, it's not even funny. Especially when they are stuck in their mansions during COVID telling people that we are all in this together. Nah, it's different for you people. They're stuck in 5,000 square feet with a nanny. Meanwhile my husband is working from home, while my dog and toddler compete for who can touch mommy the most in less than 1,200 square feet. We are not the same. Potted plants. According to my cat. Things on the pedestal in general, according to every cat. Except for them. Pedestal is for cat, nothing else. Being too busy, hustle culture, not getting enough sleep from all the demands to keep up with. 100% agree. I'm a teacher, and there seems to be a competition in who can take the most books home, and who has the busiest day, or who has the most hectic day. I've stopped taking work home now, and I'm all the happier for it, as are my family. I'm a teacher who gives 95% during work hours and 5% after hours. That 5% is reserved for emergencies only. Working to the point of burnout. Unfortunately my husband is like this. He's too much of a perfectionist and picks up other people's slack and short staffing. It's compounded by the fact that he works with animals, so he's more likely to work himself to death than let anything happen to them. Except for maybe Terry the tarantula. According to my husband he's a bit of an asshole. Terrors. Am I right? Influencers. Please stop admiring these useless people. What do they even do? Like, how are they popular? They make content that millions of people watch. For comparison, PewDiePie has about 20 times more viewers than primetime CNN. The amount of influence they actually have is pretty ridiculous. There's a reason brands trip over themselves to try and get their stuff on their channels. Sacrificing physical and mental health, leisure, and interpersonal relationships for the sake of work. The worst part is, there are those who pretty much have to in order to sustain themselves and their families. Yes, and as a society we should see those as tragic and inhumane situations that need to be remedied, not as something to be celebrated and emulated. The fandom stuff of celebrities, it just doesn't make sense. To be so caught up in their day to day, like yeah, I like and love some of their work, but I could care less about their personal lives. I can't imagine what turning your life over to a public spotlight would be like. I'd like to get rich, but frick being famous. I've always said the best kind of celebrity is being name famous, and not face famous. Name famous gives you the ego stroke you may need from time to time, but allows you to walk in privacy. Authors, artists, etc. Never wearing the same clothes/outfit twice. Lol, I'm 30 and I have some clothes from high school. I don't throw out clothes unless I see a hole in it. I paid for my clothes and I'll use them until they're worn out, damn it. I wear my clothes till they disintegrate off my body. Giving all and everything to a job. The reality is very few places truly care about employees. Your job is a transactional relationship. You owe them nothing except the hours you work and the jobs you must accomplish during that time. Don't give up your sick days, work for free, or feel you owe them. Giving your all to a job sound like a good way to work yourself to death. If you are always giving 100% every single day, that creates expectations. So chances are, when you inevitably get tired and start to fall back, people will get disappointed. I made this mistake, and I'm suffering for it now. I was way too eager to impress my boss and prove myself valuable for the first year at my job. I went above and beyond every chance I had, worked a ton of extra hours for no compensation, spent personal time working on projects just for it to eventually go unrecognized and become the expectation. Now I'm burnt out as frick, and I've stopped going the extra mile. Even though I still do my job and do it well, it's a disappointment compared to what I was doing before. Lesson learned. Narcissism disguised as oh that's just their personality. Call it what it is. Had a friend like that I recently cut ties with. If that's just the way you are, then enjoy being that way by yourself. I ain't here for that. I think you might be me. Completely the same situation, and I ended up thinking this friend really doesn't give me anything, doesn't make me happy, and challenges everything anyone says just because they enjoy the debate. And we are not talking about civilized debate either. Nope. I'm not spending my time on someone like that. Politicians. Was looking for this. They aren't celebrities, there is nothing entertaining about them, and putting them, or their ideology, on a pedestal is, in a word, creepy. People who are working all the time. They work all weekend, give up holidays, leave paid time off on the table. Companies have taken advantage of this for years, and when needed they chew you up and spit you right out. Corporate ladder climbing just gets you to an end of life with no family or real friend relationships. Yay, but I need the money. I'm not staying late at the office. I'm leaving early to get to my other job. Knowing what you want to do with the rest of your life. I wanna rock. Having mental illness. To be clear, I'm very happy our society is moving in a direction where people can be open about mental illness and can seek treatment without shame. But holy frick, do people romanticize the crap out of mental illness. And then you get fools who convince themselves they have mental illness so they can be special or part of a community, and stigmatize the illness for people who actually freaking have it. As someone with bipolar disorder, I really hate this, because I'd do anything to be normal. This illness has destroyed my life and taken everything from me. And people make cute memes about mental illness, like it's just some quirky thing everyone can relate to sometimes. I don't mean to gatekeep, because it doesn't have to be a certain level of severity for you to suffer. This isn't the pain Olympics. But nobody should think there's anything desirable about having a mental illness. It's good to destigmatize it, but when you normalize it too much, it just loses its meaning. Getting wasted. Binge drinking. The more you drink, the tougher you are. Taking shots just to prove to others how much you can handle. Or to wake up with a nasty hangover the next day. Not to mention alcohol addiction before very long. Then liver disease in a decade. I hope more people realize how serious liver disease is and can stop drinking as much before it's too late. I just got diagnosed with autoimmune liver disease from a genetic condition, not even from alcohol, and it's really not freaking fun at all. It's absolutely miserable. Ending up in the hospital once every month and a half to be NPO on only eye fluids for over a week, because you can't eat, drink or sleep, because you're puking you're so loud constantly, and having debilitating abdomen pain. Seriously guys, cut down on the drinking and lower the amount of fat in your diet. Your body will thank you. Hustle culture and belittling people who don't work 18 different jobs. I hate when people give me crap for doing nothing on my day off. I'm sorry if I don't wanna devote hours of my day going somewhere to pay to do something I don't wanna do, or pay too much for food I don't enjoy. Then they get offended and ask what's wrong with me today. Yeah man, do you? Almost all of my days off revolve around chilling the frick out, and I've tailored my life that way on purpose. It's great, and I'm tired of people acting like it's a negative thing to enjoy time to yourself, to read, sleep, watch TV, play video games, whatever you enjoy doing. Soldiers. For one thing, I've never met a single one who likes the ass-kissing thank you for your service culture in this country. It's just conservative virtue signaling. Also, it does absolutely nothing to help them with their real problems. If you want to show your appreciation for the troops, write to your representatives and demand that they stop over the VAP. As a Marine, thank you for saying this. There are definitely some shats who do it for the clout, but for the most part we are just a bunch of misguided kids who joined for something they thought they believed in, only to find out later it's all a mirage. Then when we decide to go back to civilian life, we are simply kicked to the curb and left to the VA's worthlessness. Worth noting that the VA isn't worthless, just severely underfunded and required to do more each year with less money. There has been a huge push by the Republicans, generally speaking, since the 2000s era to privatize government services, including the Vallon Post Office. The best way to do so is to cause these services to fail due to a lack of funding and go see. Look. Government spending waste. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that strips veterans from procuring treatment that they rightfully deserve. That's not to say that the VA is perfect. Like any institution or service, there is always room for improvement. Actually having a meaningful budget will go a long way to fix that. The VA gets a lot of hate because when they frick up, it's covered everywhere, and rightfully so. Compared to the private sector, however, the service provided by the VA is good. It is just the victim of a lack of funding, being set up to fail, and a propaganda campaign to push privatization. YouTube celebrities. Just scratch that YouTube out, and you'd be even more correct. Celebrities just existing isn't a problem. Some actors / artists / experts / people of interest genuinely deserve the esteem they receive, and many are just genuinely interesting people. But celebrity obsession or worship is toxic. For example, I'm happy to learn that Tom Hanks collects antique typewriters, and hearing sweet anecdotes about Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard's marriage over the years has been a delightful distraction from time to time. However, dissecting Kim and Kanye's divorce to the point of obsession, or poring over who wore it better, is just abhorrent. 99% of people being called a hero. A hero is just that, a hero. Every person that served in the military is not a hero. Just an example, by this I do not mean that no one in the military could be a hero. Far from it. But it seems that nowadays simply putting on a uniform makes one a hero. Edit to explain this. Everyone's a hero in their own way. In their own not that heroic way. TikTok celebrities. TikTok in general is pretty cancer. There's only one person I follow on there because I think he's pretty funny. The majority of the videos on there are not meant for the amount of kids on that app. For context, I'm 18 and currently work at Dunkin', and the amount of 12-year-olds and under I see come with their parents just so they can have a Charlie cold foam is mind-boggling. The worst part about this although is that kids that young are drinking a dark roast iced coffee even after we tell them what it is, and their parents just allow it and come back pretty much every day for it because their kid won't stop bugging them about it. Sorry for the bit of a rant, but it's just so sad that this is what society is allowing advertising to come to, just so they can make a quick buck off of vulnerable kids and parents who just don't care enough, at least to me. Work in general. Work should not be the central focal point of life. Not for rich people, not for poor people, not for middle class people. As more and more things get automated, the result should be that we have more and more time for leisure, for personal projects, for socializing, etc. Instead, as things become automated, people have a harder time finding jobs and keeping themselves afloat. I'm not against automation, I'm just commenting on the way it's playing out right now. And those who do find jobs are doing the work of 4 people all the time. Having children. I have kids, and don't get me wrong, I love them, they are my whole life. However, children will drastically change everything about your life. Any passions and or goals that you may have will either be put off for a very long time, or completely demolished. Every so often someone asks me about kids, and any suggestions on them, typically people thinking about having kids. This is what I say: if they haven't had kids yet, when you have kids you are no longer living for yourself, you are living for another person. That doesn't mean you give up everything for yourself, but it does mean that they become the priority. If you aren't the kind of person who doesn't want to do that, then please don't have kids. Just be someone's awesome uncle/aunt. We need more awesome uncle/aunt. We don't need more crappy parents. Revealing the gender of a baby before it's born. Fine to mention it to those few who actually care, but otherwise it's not worthy of an organized event with many guests. It's actually illegal in my country because people used to kill off female fetuses. I'm glad no one gets to know the gender anymore. Pointless crap. Big, high cost of living cities. There are a lot of pretty nice medium and small cities to that no one ever talks about or considers, but can get you a pretty nice quality of life. Are cities on a pedestal? I live in Chicago and people on Reddit crap on it 24/7. The Chicago subreddit is filled with people from other states and the burbs crapping on the city too. I lived all over and I like Chicago the best, but I appreciate its bad rep to keep the costs down. Moms, we are not super people. We are just people. We don't have all the answers. And being a mother does not automatically make your opinion more valuable/valid than another person's. Came here to say this as a non-parent and was delighted to see your comment as a parent. Mothers tend to be glorified and many mothers glorify themselves, which is just gross. When mothers as a group are glorified, non-parents are diminished. People treating disabled people like human beings with unique personalities, interests, and aspirations. Newsflash. That should be the standard. Or worse, the glorification of disabilities as superpowers. No, autism isn't a superpower, it's a disabilities that causes them to think and behave differently, which occasionally benefits them in a myriad of small ways. Not to mention its comorbidity. We just want understanding that we are people. We just want a system in place to help us work with the current system. But the moment I tell someone I can't do calculus or quantum physics in my head. Military service. I was in the military. It was a job. My sense of patriotism and service to country was no higher than anybody else's. I wasn't a hero. I graduated high school, couldn't afford college, and I needed a job. You don't have to thank me for my service. Elon Musk. Guy could start a church. Arrogant of you to think there isn't one. Visit the mosque every weekend. Rewarding/tolerating behavior that is uncalled for. Very vague. Oprah Winfrey. And Ellen, she's got some serious bad press for being a total bish. Masking rudeness is honesty, and when they say something that hurts someone they are just calling a spade a spade. Hollywood and celebrities. I think the pandemic has proven once and for all that in the great scheme of things, these people are meaningless and the glorification of them is just insane. Pay them less, stop the worshipping, and get rid of award shows. It makes me happy that the big award shows have seen massive declines in ratings over the past several years. Nobody cares anymore. If you haven't seen it, look up Ricky Gervais hosting the Golden Globes. He just crap on the whole thing, and not in a friendly, joking way. He genuinely crap all over it and meant it. Celebrities that have no actual talents, i.e. Kardashians. Vases in cartoons. They always get knocked down and break, and then there's a whole fiasco of shenanigans around trying to either fix, or replace or hide it. Giant gems on velvet pillows. I mean, you're just asking for cat burglars and heists. The notion that it's good for business owners to grind down their employees and squeeze every penny then can out of them. I hate to say it, but veterans. I know a guy who basically spent 2 years playing video games in Germany and now he gets discounts for the rest of his life and also gets to stand up and take a bow at public gatherings. My dad spent 2 years in lethal combat against the Japanese and never got or expected the goodies and applause that veterans get now. Here in Florida, vets aren't happy with mere honor. They want to be practically worshipped, having every other park, bridge, and highway named after them, and every possible discount and privilege. You don't dare say no, or you're a commie. It's utterly disgusting. I'm a veteran, USMC. I personally find it weird when people thank me for my service. Like, I picked a job to do for a few years that doesn't really have a super high bar, yeah, no. On some level I understand that there is a higher risk of death, or more likely mental health issues, but I signed up for it. Not to pay $2 less for a haircut at Great Clips, though I did it, because the Star-Spangled Banner means freedom to me. Others gave their life to declare it, protect others, etc. I didn't fight in wars, where I had to charge a hill. It seems very uneven. I used to tell people not to thank me. I talked with other vets about it, and came to the conclusion the best thing to do is just say thanks and move on. Lots of people at my office don't even know I served, even though, or maybe because, I'm twice the Marine, by volume, now. Also, I do work in government contracting now. Not the cool weapon sales way, in the way that I review legal documents for compliance with laws. Like actual contracts. This has bled into my personal life and makes me cheap. I will ask places if they have a veteran discount. If they don't, they don't. I make no demand that they should, or I deserve one. But I mean, come on, if I gotta get new tires and showing my VA health card saves me $50, I'm not gonna turn down the savings I can use for my family. Identity. Far too many people have themselves wrapped around who and how they prefer to rub their naughty bits against, and far too many people think the color of their or your skin defines their or your entire existence. Human beings are so much more than the sum of their parts, naughty or otherwise. I think it's Maureen that most literally couldn't express who they were for long periods of time without repercussions, so they take it to the nth degree now that they can. Same with, say, someone who grew up oppressed by religion. When they finally get out, they might go crazy partying, clubbing and having wild sex. Should they tone it down a bit? Probably. But I think that it's natural for someone to do or express things that they couldn't before. Being gay, who cares? Too many people care, that's the problem. If nobody cared, the LGBT community wouldn't need to defend itself as often. Beauty. Congratulations, you were born with good looks. Pure luck. In fact, beauty can be obtained with effort, and at least presentable looks to good looks are possible for most people that works it. Natural good looks can be ruined if you don't take care of it. This is combined with that beauty, desired looks and hygiene are important, because most of us are visual creatures and our first impression is usually what we see and or heard, followed by smell. Pregnancy and parenting. My wife and I love our free time. I want to do nothing for the most part in my free time, with the option to do whatever I want, when I want to. I enjoy the quiet. I enjoy playing video games with my wife, or reading a book, or drawing, or taking a hike. We enjoy sleeping and when we can, and having lazy days together. We just really like our free time, and kids would definitely ruin that, lol. Pulling all-nighters, overworking, or anything that glorifies not sleeping in order to be productive. I have so many regrets about treating myself badly by losing sleep. I have cavities I have to pay for because of all the energy drinks I consumed, all for double shifts at my crappy job. Probably controversial, but being proud of being overweight. No, you're not healthy. No, you don't look good. America has enough problems with obesity and heart disease. Glorifying it is just making it worse. I'm not saying it's okay to be rude to overweight people, but this body positivity is just ridiculous. You're overweight and you should try to get in shape. Fathers parenting their own children. I take my kids to the park, no big deal. Dad takes them and all the women at the park flock to him asking if he needs help. Excuse me? Expensive weddings. People will literally spend $50,000 on a wedding. That crap is ridiculous and just idiotic.